Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beyond the Frame. I'm Jay Nephew. I'll be your host this afternoon. And with me, we have a very special guest today, the Executive Director of the United States Bowling Congress, Mr. Chad Murphy's with us. Thank you for joining us, Chad.
Thanks for having me, Jay. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. Absolutely. You know, we get asked a lot of questions all the time about, league play and our customers. One of the things that I wanted to have you on the show for a reason, obviously many reasons, but personally reasons. I really feel like when this whole COVID stuff broke out and, everything started shutting down and they were talking about the regulations that needed to come to play, I was daunted beyond belief. In my mind, I thought, well, competitive bowling as we know it is over now. That's just what I thought. And I couldn't wrap my head around how we would ever have competitive bowling again with these regulations in place. Yeah. And so as time went on and, I watched the needle for the Open Championships get pushed a little farther, I was like, okay, so there's going to be a plan there and there's going to be some guidance, I'm sure of it. And now, today, I'm happy to say I get it, I can see it, I see it, I see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. But what I do want to say is this: if I have to hear one more bowler, and I put that in quotes, meaning bowler like my level, like kind of a scratch player, even a little bit less, who thinks that because they read 3 words on a post on Facebook, they know what's happening, I'm just going to freak out because everybody says the same thing. Oh, league's going to be terrible now because we got a ball on one lane only. And I said, stop it. So yeah. I'm here with the expert, the person who helped craft these, and I'm here to tell you this. Number one, only 3 rules were modified during this time frame. And I want to talk about the first 2, and that's 106 and 320. Rule 106 and 320 relate to how league is played and what must happen for scores to be recognized as towards your average or to qualify for any awards. And that is where the 1 lane option comes into play. So Chad, please let us know what the methodology is and what the mindset is behind this rule update.
Absolutely. Yeah, if I could back a couple months, when we started out and everything went pretty quick, we started, postponing our events, and we posted on our website at bowl.com. We have a COVID-19 page, and so you can go there. One of the things that's inside there is guidelines for leagues and tournaments. It's basically an FAQ on how leagues were shutting down, how summer leagues might take place, tournaments. Just has everything you could think of, or that we could think of at the time, if you will, there as a resource or a best practice. And, it says, what the rights of a member have, but also in collaboratively working with the center, league officers. And from there, we just started listening to the marketplace. We were, watching the guidelines that were put in place. And so both those rules that you're talking about literally came from us just listening to bowling proprietors, league officials, and people saying just exactly like you did, Jay. And I don't want to single you out because I know that there's a lot of people thinking that. But everybody was worried about whether we were even going to be able to open our doors, but then when we did, if we would even be able to competitively have leagues. And so what we put in place with those 2 rules are simply options. They are not a one-size-fits-all. You can go back into your center with your local government rules in regards to social distancing and all. If you can go back to normal, go back to normal. But what we tried to do was say, okay, how can we make it how could we give our center stakeholders options? How could we give them if you could, only use 1 pair next to another pair, have to skip a pair. If you can only put so many people on a pair, then it's 1 lane versus the lane, call it lane 1 and lane 3. And so we just set out with our rules folks and said, hey, let's make it as easy as we possible for the business stakeholders to operate the business. It was amazing because when we put it out in the marketplace, we did have this huge, massive amount of emails and phone calls that came in and said, I can't believe you're doing that. A lot of people were upset because they thought it was the only way.
Correct.
And it's really not. It's just an option. If you have to have it, at your local somebody doing this in New York right now that's still not even open, and it's going to be August before they might open in some cases, versus somewhere in Texas here, which is opening on Friday. And so it's just going to be different for everybody. And so we just tried to set out to give everybody as many options as they could within our rules, knowing that there still has to be a rule structure. We declared a state of emergency within our rules, which allowed us to do those types of things. But again, main point is it's an option for business stakeholders and leagues. Even something as simple, say one team comes in at 6 o'clock and they bowl on lanes, 13 and 14. The team they're bowling might come in at 7:45, bowl on the same pair. And in between, the center owner, runs a fresh pair for them, so they're both bowling on fresh. It won't be the same as them bowling a, normal league setting, but it gets us back up and running faster and allows someone to use a bowling ball. That's a good thing. And it's just an option that we tried to provide to the marketplace. And a lot of folks say, well, that's too proprietor in some cases. And I every time I get that, it's pro bowling, right? We're pro people being able to bowl because it helps our members get back. It helps our officers have a structure within the environment. I said this on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. I think it's important. We trust our owners and operators to do what's best for our members in their center. We're just trying to give them options that'll make it easier for them.
That makes complete sense. I mean, when you look at how this is developed and where we're going for the USBC and the Rules and Legal Legislative Committee and the Specs and Equipment and Specs Committee, you think I would know about those things because I was on one of them. But for them to be able to wrap their heads around this and come up with some options, that's the key word, people that are listening, that are available for you to use if you need them. It is super important because we've always thought of the national governing body of a sport as being very rigid, and this is it. Now, we still have purists in our economy and in our marketplace that are going to feel that way no matter what. But when you look at what this does for bowling as a whole, it really helps us take that next step. And does that mean that's the way we're going to walk from now on? No, it just means that we're taking a step right now. So let's move forward and we can decide if this step hurts us in any way, shape, or form, or maybe this step is okay to have for the future. We don't know this yet. Maybe we find that this works for some people and it's okay. Maybe we find that it's good for a month. I don't know.
And if I could hit on that, one of the really positive things that's going to come out of this is there really are a lot of ideas around the country that have popped up. The disinfecting of bowling balls and the way we do shoes, and some people are using plexiglass between pairs. Some of these things are just good ideas, and so they'll stay post-pandemic. But in the meantime, in the emergency of it, I talked to a gentleman this morning that sent me a letter, and I just explained to him because he kind of took the same approach. I want to bowl somebody competitively that's bowling on a pair, a pair over. And I said, well, if it allows us to get open, and that's the only way we can do it, then we have to, offer the option. Will it be here forever? No, probably not. But some of the things that are being done and some of the things that are being proposed will be. And I think it'll better our business in a lot of ways, just because they're good ideas.
Yeah.
But again, it goes back to the operator, the local area that they're in. The differing local laws and rules that'll be in place. Some of it will be fire code, some will be square footage, some of it will be capacity just on total business. Some of our operators will be able to work very efficiently within that. Some of those it'll take a little while, to get up and running. But I appreciate what you said, Jay, because I know you know how it works. Being a former board member at USBC, which I thank you for your service. Our governance structure worked very quickly and efficiently through this process. No better or worse. We're not ahead or behind this thing. We're managing it. And so we're trying to help our stakeholders, both bowling center and the members, to be able to operate efficiently, whatever their local guidelines might be.
And managing is all we can ever ask for, really, because I don't think anybody's ahead of it, whether it's our industry or any other industry. They're just managing, right? Getting bowlers back in the building is important for us as an industry leader. but also for the sport, because if we don't have people bowling recreationally, we're not going to have people bowling, competitively. It's just the way the ball bounces or rolls, shall we say.
I always say, and you segued me to a good point. I always say all bowling is good.
Bowling is good.
We like to haggle sometimes between traditional FEC league versus casual. All bowling is good. If somebody's picking up a bowling ball, and that doesn't even, somebody on stub lane, a small video game, a Route 66 lane versus, the full traditional bowling center, all bowling is good. Uh-oh. Jay, did you freeze up? Are you there? Is it me?
Oh, sorry. You froze on my end, so who knows who it was.
Okay,
I think
that's all right.
Squirrel chewing on the internet connection. Well,
there
you said something also. You mentioned that some things are probably going to be here to stay, and I would bet you that most bowling centers will have a ball sanitation station at some point in time, that it will always be there from now on. It makes good sense. People are a little bit weird about putting their fingers in the balls. So if a customer can either clean it themselves or have a freshly cleaned bowling ball available for them, I think that's the right move. And along that line, you did also make amendments to Rule 18, or an exception to the rule for time being, about cleaners being used on equipment during certified play. And that is to allow for 100% isopropyl alcohol to be used to wipe a ball down. And that's specifically to help rid surfaces, hard surfaces, of any type of coronavirus. So yeah. I appreciate that personally.
Yeah, and very specifically the CDC, that's an approved cleaner to take out the virus, if you will. But, this one's kind of interesting too, because Jay, and you'll remember this, I think it kind of takes us back to our roots, right? Remember when we used to shine balls in the Luster King, and the Luster King became the ball cleaner, and then the ball cleaner became a, surface factory. And so when you think of all those things, and then really the pro shop, who we love dearly and believe is kind of the centerpiece of the bowling center, has kind of taken that on, including with rejuvenation and a lot of things that go with this. But we felt like it was important to offer an option that took place right there in the bowlers area as part of competition. And so it's something that we'll do in the meantime, and we'll see how that one, proceeds long term. But I think you're spot on in saying that, this is one of those ideas that will probably be here to stay, in terms of every center or every location having a disinfectant or cleaning station for bowling balls, especially house balls. I think one of the big, kind of misinformation maybe our governance structures don't really understand is, on the league and competitive side, everybody for the most part has their own bowling ball. They walk in, it fits them, they throw it. So we don't really treat bowling balls. But on the open play side, enormously important when you think about the cleaning and disinfecting of those bowling balls in between use.
We're coming near the end of our time. We like to keep these a little bit shorter so people can digest them quickly. But I have a question for you, or I'd like your opinion on this.
Sure.
What do you think that our members and our centers, well, let me rephrase that. What do you think that owner-operators of our facilities should be focusing on today and tomorrow for their league customers, for their organized play customers, league and tournament?
Yeah, customer experience is the easy one for me. There's going to have to be a lot of communication on what we're doing over and above, in terms of cleanliness and those types of things. But, bowling's been talking about the consumer experience forever. I mean, how many times does somebody walk out of a bowling center and say, hey, that was not fun, that was terrible? And I would tell you it's a poor league night based on score, maybe. But not, in terms of, bowling and competing with our friends. So all the great things about bowling are going to be there post-COVID-19 that were there pre-COVID-19. All those things are still going to be true. But in terms of the customer service and building customer demand in that it's safe to come back into the bowling center is going to be the real challenge. And so to me, that's what we'll communicate. And again, I just repeat this. I trust all of our proprietors, our GMs around the country. They're all great business operators. And, BPA has got some great, best practices on their website, on their COVID-19 page. We just continue to talk about the customer experience and what you're going to see when you walk into a bowling center that might be a little bit different that's in addition to the great customer experience that we already provide and have been for decades.
Yes, good point. Good point there. I agree with you. We can modify certain things, but communication is key when it comes to your customers. And we also think that, you know, all of our owner operators are going to do the right thing. It's in their best interest. Nobody's trying to do the wrong thing. Right. You have to step back when you are upset about something at a bowling center. You have to step back and go, these people are in business for business. And so they're not consciously making decisions that are terrible on my behalf. Maybe I don't like this decision, or, you know, I didn't have a good time this time, but, you know, it's not their goal. So I agree. We have to allow them to run their business the way they want to.
Well, yeah, and if Chad, I could, can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
The interesting thing about this too, with shutting down, right? And I think this is one of BPA's core messages. You know, we've got another chance to make a first impression. Right. So that first piece of communication and that first trip in is going to be so important. And so if we can help, or BP can help here at the campus, we want to. But again, it's all about the consumer demand. It comes from the customer experience that first time they come back in. Do they feel safe? And I think they will. There's going to be all this pent-up demand, right? So they're going to rush back in. We just have to be ready for them.
And ready we will be. We've got our resource page at cubicaamf.com. It's chock full of links, including to the BPAA website with their pages. I'm going to add the frequently asked questions about these rule changes to our page for our members to quickly access and understand. We also want to talk about what our webinar tomorrow, the webinar tomorrow is with Lance Rasmussen from CDE Software, easy for me to say. And we'll be talking about league bowling there. Thursday, join back here on Beyond the Frame with Dottie San Martin. She's going to have Reggie Franklin, owner of Chalet Bowl, on, and he's always a great guest to have. So we've got some good content here for you as far as support goes. Chad, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you to the USBC for being a governing body and guiding us along the way. I know not everybody loves every decision, but I love the fact that we're making progress and moving forward. So thank you very much, my friend.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Jay.
On behalf of Cubica AMF, my name is Jay Nephew. I'm here with Chad Murphy. We'll say see you later. And until next time, make sure you keep yourself in the right frame of mind. Have a great day, everyone.
All right, bud.